Dear student, dear colleague, dear friend, here are some misperceptions about self-management. And these ones are taken from the work of Frederic Laloux. Some of you may have read his book, Reinventing Organizations. The great marvel of Laloux's book is those different cases of self-management that he discusses. Favi, the French car component maker, Buurtzorg, the Dutch care company, Morningstar, American ketchup maker, AES, an electrical company. So many companies are very clearly described in his book. And actually with my students we read those cases. We sometimes even read Laloux's analysis. We may have a few different views there, but at least the cases are great. And Laloux also wrote a short article called Misperceptions of Self-Management. And let me walk you through his arguments. The first myth is that some people, when they hear self-management, they think about no structure, no management, no leadership. And definitely in Europe, in the Netherlands, for example, in the 1970s, the then mostly leftist socialist government did lots of participative, democratic kinds of management experiences. But it was kind of forced on people. And not so many people think that was a success. So they think back on then. You know, do whatever you want, no structure, nobody is allowed to be the boss. No, that's not true. Self-management, well, there is no one formula for self-management. There are some common characteristics, but some companies use the Semco style. Some companies like Zappos, for example, are very inspired by a system called holacracy. But of course they've created their own form. Morningstar has its own form, but the point is the structure comes out of your organization and what your organization needs, what your customer needs. It may need an IKEA structure, or it may need the structure of a smaller furniture shop. Because of that, that means that more people are actually taking on the roles of managing or of leading. Because there may not be full-time managers, but in the teams there are people who take that role. Because these roles are not something you're kind of stuck with for the rest of your life and you can go on a power trip, but something that rotates with the need. The second one, myth number 2 about self-management is, well, you know, everyone is equal, and you may even think, oh my God, and everybody is paid equally. And again, for some Europeans, that makes us think about the situation with the former Soviet Union, with the former Eastern Bloc, where you found out that, that a doctor in Poland back in the 1980s was paid the same amount as a factory worker and everybody was equal and the system didn't work. Self-management is not about that. People, like in a team, you may have people that have a more strategic role and who because of that have more influence, are also paid more, but that doesn't mean that you as an individual team member do not have the power and the capacity to function the best within your own role. If you happen to be, again, I'll take the example of Favi, you are working on a machine that is making a specific component for a car's muffler. If you know how to do this component well, if you know that if you want to improve the machine you can, then you feel powerful, then you know whatever you do is respected equally to what everybody else is doing. And in that sense there is equality, but not in terms of the rest. Another fantasy of self-management is that it's about empowerment. I know empowerment used to be the buzzword in the 1990s, where you kind of say as a manager, well, from now on, employee, you make your own decisions. And by the way, I'll give you a budget, I'll send you on a training course, good luck. Yeah? That's kind of someone giving you empowerment. The point of self-management is that you create a structure, you design an organization in such a way that it makes possible for everybody to work with power, to do their job well. It lies in the structure itself. And of course, there is also responsibility with this freedom, because you have to make sure you really help customers. Whether it be that you work in a school or in a hospital or in a bank, it's about those customers that you serve. And if you do this well, great, you keep your structure. If not, you may need to change that or change yourself. And then finally, although maybe this myth may be slowly going away, that people think that self-management is still experimental. And no, it's not. It's been applied already for many, many decades. And I'm probably sure if I look into faraway history, I may even find some clusters in the Roman Empire who were working that way. I'm quite certain about that. But the point is, it's been around, and it can also be found in many different industries. It can be found in companies that have 100 people, 2,000 people, 100,000 people, and also in different cultures. Because Semco, for example, Semco Brazil, there you have a participative experiment in a culture that you would normally not consider to be participative. It's a very hierarchical culture, Brazil. You would think people in Scandinavia or Holland, the Netherlands, would do self-management. And they do, but it fits that culture more. So to give you a few examples, Gore, of the Gore-Tex, already been around since the 1950s. Before that you had STL, who worked with Abraham Maslow's work, Semco, Whole Foods, Patagonia, the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra, Linux, even Alcoholics Anonymous as a self-management form, Buurtzorg in the Netherlands, Joie de Vivre hotels in California, AES, and in Europe, Bol.com, in Belgium het Wit-Gele Kruis, Favi in France, Poult in France, and many, many, many more. So it's been around and it's growing. Now, to come to a conclusion, if you want to transform your organization into some sort of self-management, there's many books to read. The one that we wrote back in '97 was Organize with Chaos. And for those of you who are in a hurry, you can also read The Essential, Change with Chaos, and then slow down and really think about what you can do with your organization. And here's also a few more clips about self-management. You can look at why Zappos took a fast lane to self-management. You can watch Leadership Tango about how to switch from leading to following, etc., etc. And well, this is the organizational behavior team at the University of Breda. We created this video for you and hope you enjoyed it.